Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is your host with the biggest nose, Jay-Z Courtside, coming at y'all today on Thursday, December 4th. I remembered the day, finally. I hope you guys are all having a great start to your Thursday morning. It is 9 a.m. As y'all know, we do all of these podcasts live on Twitch, on TikTok, on YouTube. So if you guys want to get a part of the action and become a part of our interactive podcast, be sure to follow, subscribe, 5-star ratings and reviews for all you podcast listeners. You guys, y'all mean just as much to me as the live crew does. Be sure to tune in live Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern. We have a pretty fun podcast today, y'all. All things considered, the Pistons lost, so I'm going through that right now. But still, some important hoops from last night that I do want to discuss. We haven't really done a different segment this week. So this week, we're actually doing a different segment. We are doing a different segment. And it's going to be the last segment of today's pod. We're basically going to be talking about the teams that should be having a fire sale, right? But first, before we break down two games from last night, I want to talk about one of the trending topics that are going on. And I only have two games from last night that I want to break down. It wasn't really a great night of hoops. A lot of underdogs winning it last night. So we're going to start off with the trending topic of, well, I have his jersey behind me. Giannis Antetokounmpo apparently has requested a trade prior to this NBA season beginning. Now that caught me off guard. And apparently the news broke out even more that after the Bucks signed Miles Turner from the Indiana Pacers, that's when Giannis walked into the office and said, yeah, I want to trade. Talk about a blow to your team's morale. The fact that you went and got him a stretch center after you lost your stretch center in Brook Lopez, you get a new guy, and when you hear about who that new guy is, you go into the front office and say, yeah, I want out. And if that doesn't speak the volumes of Giannis Antetokounmpo, basically, the issue here is that when Giannis went into the office, Giannis is not a guy that says, I want to leave. We suck. I'm done. Giannis is not that type of guy. Giannis, when he's committed to something, is fully committed. So as far as hypothesizing a trade to go in the middle of the season, that's not going to happen, ladies and gents. I got to shout out this dude in the TikTok very quickly. This is hilarious. He said, what's this guy's name? He said, Nick said, hey, Giannis, we got Jericho Sims. We're good. After last night, hey, man, Jericho Sims might be an MVP of this league one day. So, Giannis Antetokounmpo, this trade is, I just don't think it's going to happen. I know he walked into the office and said, I want to be traded in the offseason. When that didn't happen, and he specifically said New York, by the way. When that didn't happen, Giannis didn't sulk. Giannis didn't say, I'm not playing for this team. Giannis didn't say any of that. He didn't add any of these extra theatrics. He did not do that, because when Giannis starts the NBA season, he is only paying attention to that NBA season. He's not looking to get involved in any of these drama takes. He's not getting involved with any of this BS regarding what team there, what team here. He's only focused on the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, there's a couple issues now when you look at this, because I got reminded yesterday at my personal basketball game, right? At my adult league, we were talking about this whole Giannis situation. And I said to a couple of the guys on my team, Giannis is not going to get traded in the midseason. There's just no way. It's too big of a trade to happen. And then one of my teammates looked at me and said, hey, man, after that Luka Doncic trade, anything could happen. And then I sort of took a step back and I was like, damn, yeah, you're right. But then I even looked at him and I said, but that was a different situation. That was Nico Harrison, one of the dumbest humans that walked this face of the earth. That's different. I'm like, it's the New York Knicks. They're not going to do something like that. And then he said, Joe, hold on. This is the exact same situation. I said, what are you talking about? He said, it was the Dallas Mavericks trading Luka Doncic to the Los Angeles Lakers. So you have a middle market team trading to one of the biggest franchises. Look at this situation. You have a middle market team in the Milwaukee Bucks, arguably small market, to, again, another biggest market in the NBA in New York. And then I said, oh, wow. And so I was having some real good conversations last night with my basketball team because, yeah, I could see the similarities. But the only issue is this is Dolan, you know? Dolan is very different than like the Lakers franchise now. I don't know personally. I just don't see this happening in the middle of the season. I think I'm going to stand by that. I think I'm going to just hold my ground here and confidently say that Giannis Antetokounmpo is not going to get traded in the middle of this season. I think it's so different than that Luka trade because here's the thing. Every team in the NBA now knows that Giannis is available. So you know, Horst is getting these calls around the clock right now. Hell, the teams like the Hornets or the Nets are reaching out. I mean, the Nets have a lot to trade, with all due respect. He's getting calls from the Hornets. He's getting calls from the Pelicans. He's getting calls from the Kings. You know what I'm saying? Nico Harrison did this because he knew it was a bad trade. He didn't make Luka Doncic available. Because let's just say, ladies and gentlemen, that Nico Harrison instead said, hey, everybody, Luka's fat. He's up on the trade block. Can I get some calls? Y'all, you know they're getting calls from every single team. Hell, they're getting calls from Iraq, let alone Milwaukee, let alone Lakers. So the reason Nico didn't do that is because it was a personal vendetta towards Luka Doncic. He just didn't like Luka, right? We all know now that Giannis is available. So now every team is going to be throwing up their best packages possible for Giannis Antetokounmpo. There's a little clause here that I want to add at the end of this segment. Happened last night, actually. But with that being said, the Milwaukee Bucks are not going to just, okay, we'll take Karl Anthony Towns and OG Anunoby and 2 first-rounders. Thanks. They're not going to do that. They're going to get their offer from the Knicks. They're going to get their offer from the Mavs. They're going to get their offer from the Lakers, from the Thunder, from the Pistons, from the Cavs. Hell, they're going to pick up the phone when the Kings call. They're going to gauge all of their offers. And then they're going to decide what is best. Ladies and gents, Giannis is not going to get traded in the middle of the season. I would, before I'd like to move on, of course, as you guys know, we're going to break down 2 of the games from last night. One of them the Spurs, one of them the Mavs. And then we're going to talk about my segment where teams should be having a fire sale. So in case you guys just tuned in, that's what we're going to be doing. Be sure to drop a follow because we do these live shows every morning at 9 a.m. Eastern. If you guys are enjoying the stream, you would enjoy it much, much more over here on the Twitch stream where I take comments and respond to them because that's what makes this podcast interactive and different from everybody else. So link in my bio, TikTok, if you guys would like to enjoy this stream to the utmost capability. Giannis Antetokounmpo last night against the Detroit Pistons went down 3 minutes into the game with an apparent calf injury, and it was non-contact. And we've seen this exact same injury 2 years ago from Giannis, and it was like the exact same situation where he was sitting on his behind and just with his knee in front of him. He's got a calf strain, ladies and gents. You know what that means, right? You know what a calf strain means, right? Durant, Halliburton, Kobe, Tatum, they all started with a calf strain. And this is scary. Giannis, do not rush back. In my honest opinion, he should sit out for as long as he wants. I pray that we do not need another super. Guys, there's been way too many injuries. There has been way too many injuries this season. I pray that we don't lose another player in their prime in Giannis Antetokounmpo, not just so that he can get traded, but can we be so for real here, y'all? I miss Tatum playing. I miss Halliburton playing. I do not like these injuries. I miss watching these guys play, man. And the last thing we need now is for Giannis to tear his Achilles. I mean, everybody's calling Milwaukee right now. Everybody's calling Milwaukee. So let's just hope Giannis is fine and they can move on. They unfortunately, for me, beat my Pistons last night. I'll touch on that game. I'm not going to get into it. I'll touch on that game, but right now I think it's time to move on to a team, y'all, that I think most of us have sort of written off, if that makes sense. We've sort of written them off because one of their star players got hurt, right? We've sort of written them off, right? Let's talk about the San Antonio Spurs. Y'all, I am awake. I am locked in. I'm sorry. Because when Giannis, we were just talking about him. When Victor Wembanyama went down, I said, well, here we go again. Same thing as last year. Silly me. I forgot that they have De'Aaron Fox now. Dropping 31 points in 29 minutes, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, plus 10 on the court, 11 for 10 from the field. Unbelievable. Ladies and gents, the Spurs have won 7 out of their last 9 games, all without Wemby. 7 out of their last 9 games. And let's just look at their schedule in these games. They beat the Kings. Kings suck. They beat the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies sucked at that point in time. They're starting to click a little bit. They beat the Hawks, who were on fire. They lost against the Suns. The Suns were on fire. They beat the Portland Trailblazers. This is when they were playing really well. They beat the Nuggets in Denver, by the way. They lost against Minnesota, and then they beat the Grizzlies, and then they beat Orlando last night, all capped off by Luke Kornet's game-winning block on Franz Wagner. Ladies and gents, I got to be honest, man. I was sleeping on this team. I was not ready to see what was going to happen. And my Lord, offensively, they're great. Defensively, they're okay. They still need Wemby. But Luke Kornet with the game-winning block absolutely sealed the game, hitting that celebration to show off in Orlando. It was a great game. Honestly, it was a great game. And I got to be fully honest with everybody, y'all. You look at this roster right here, they are so young. Let's just look through their list. Harrison Barnes, he's the unk of this team. Bismack Biyombo, he doesn't really play. He has to get some minutes now. 20 years old, 21 years old, 24, 28, 19, 23, 26, 24, 30, 29, 25, 34, 22, 25, 28, 22. Ladies and gents, they got the pieces for Giannis if they really want. Don't forget that. They have the pieces. And in my honest opinion, there's not enough teams right now that are talking about the Spurs because here I said they're going to fall out of the playoff spot without Wemby. Well, they're doing it. They're doing it. And I will admit, like one of my homies in the Twitch chat just said, Marked Goat, he said the game was a joke, horrible calls respectfully. There was a lot of bad officiating last night. And this game happened to be one of them. But I would like to give them a special shout out because they came in, they did their thing, they hit more threes, they hit more free throws, they got more rebounds, they got more blocks, even without Wemby. And 20 fouls this way, 19 fouls that way. The Spurs played very, very well, and they continue to do so, y'all. We got to talk more about the San Antonio Spurs. Guys, they've won 7 out of their last 9 games. They have 30-plus draft picks in the next 6 years. Thank you, Quick, in the Twitch chat for mentioning that. They have the picks. They have the young players. If they truly want to make a splash with a Giannis, with somebody, they can. They're one of the, I'd say, 3 teams that they should really be looking at for this trade because the Spurs are looking great and they can only get better now. Guys, it's not crazy to say, that the Spurs could be making some noise this year. It's not crazy to say that. Because when they have firepower like Keldon Johnson off the bench that can literally drop 25 any night he wants, and they have Dylan Harper back. I don't like Jeremy Sohan personally. I'm not a fan of Jeremy Sohan, but that's okay. I like everybody else on this team. And one thing that I do love is that when Wemby was playing, Harrison Barnes was playing much, much better. That's one thing that I've noticed. And that's sort of how vets look. You know what I'm saying? When you have a vet on your team, the stars play better. Like the old players play better when they have a star around them. I don't want this game to define Harrison Barnes 4 for 12 because he has been incredibly steady for the San Antonio Spurs team. I would describe him as the Andrew Wiggins of the Miami Heat. I would describe him as the Tobias Harris for the Pistons, more so last year than this year. Harrison Barnes is not getting enough credit that he deserves because I feel like he hones everybody in. Vassell's looked good. Obviously, I think they were missing Castle last night, right? Yeah, they were missing Castle and Wemby, and they still got it done against a hot Orlando team. I love to see all of this. I think it's looking very good. I think I'm excited to see what this team can do. I'm going to say it again, though, ladies and gents. Everybody's turned on the Pistons already just after their one comeback year. And the same things are going to happen to the Spurs now that they're actually making some noise. And I hate that. People turn on you so fast. I'm going to stay the unbiased fan I am and root for basketball because, number one, I am a Pistons fan. But most importantly, I'm a basketball fan and I love basketball. And what I love to watch is good basketball. And ladies and gents, the Spurs play good basketball offensively and defensively. If they're not hitting their shots that night, they are still not out. They are still not out. I'm a professional. I was a professional Spurs hater for my childhood because they beat my Pistons in 05. But there's one thing that you cannot deny about the San Antonio Spurs. When they have good ball players, the NBA, at my opinion, is some of the best. People say, oh, basketball's good when the Knicks are good. Basketball is good when the Spurs are good. Look at the eras. They won it in 90 with David Robinson and Tim Duncan. They won it in the early 2000s with Ginobili, Tim Duncan, Tony Parker. They won in the 2010s. This is a dynasty that spread across three decades, right? No, there's a reason why those are all the best eras of basketball. Now, as far as the Magic on the other side, they did what they can. In my opinion, the lack of shooting on this team, I see it. We all see it, the lack of shooting. Once these teams put them into a zone, it sort of doesn't look so good. It doesn't look so good, sort of like my Pistons. I want to respond to my homie Quickscoping in the Twitch stream. He said Jeremy Sohan is our lockdown. That's not Wemby. Other than that, he's not that good offensively, but defensively he brings the energy, and that's the only reason why he's got a spot in the NBA. And I think a guy like that could be in the NBA for a while as long as he actually gets prolific from three-point land. Until then, we'll see. I love Dylan Harper. I'm glad he's still playing 20 to 30 minutes a game. And I think Dylan Harper is going to be a player in this NBA for a long time. I'm going to say this, and Spurs fans, don't yell at me. Don't yell at me for what I'm about to say. De'Aaron Fox, listen, it was a happy accident that you guys fell into the second pick and got Dylan Harper, right? Second pick? Was it second? Yeah. It was a happy accident. But I said this at the beginning of the season. I'm going to repeat myself again. De'Aaron Fox is going to allow Dylan Harper and Victor Wembanyama to grow as a duo. But De'Aaron Fox is not going to be the point guard of this team. I've said it. I think it's going to be a Dylan Harper that is going to evolve because De'Aaron Fox at his peak was a top 10 point guard in the NBA. I'm not denying De'Aaron Fox's ability, but this is all a happy accident. I believe that Dylan Harper is going to leap. I believe that Stephon Castle is going to leap, even though some Spurs fans want to trade him. I don't know why. But yeah, I don't see De'Aaron Fox and the Wemby duo being something long-term. I can see it being like going into the playoffs, winning a series, winning 2 series, and then that's eventually their cap with this team. And that's all dependent on whether or not Wemby can stay, healthy, get healthy. But yeah, That's all I really have to say about that game. I see some good comments in the TikTok. That chat moves way too fast. So if you guys want to do me a huge favor, do like my homie Skylar just came to the Twitch stream. Skylar, thank you so much for the follow on Twitch. If you guys would like to join us in the better stream, be sure to swing on into the Twitch. The link is in my bio. Let's move on to our next game that I wanted to talk about. And I'm not going to dive too deep into this game because I'm going to be talking about the Mavericks a little bit later in this podcast in my in a segment I have later. Okay. Y'all, Texas is scary right now. Texas is scary. It ain't the California's NBA anymore, man. It ain't. I don't know if you guys have noticed. Hey, shout out Skylar. Came straight from TikTok. I appreciate you, Skylar. Let me just tell you this fun stat, guys. I don't even need to look at any stat boards because I know. Just so you guys know how much ball I know, let me show you how much ball I know, how much ball I actually watch. Through the first 10 games of this season, Cooper Flagg was averaging, I think, 13.5 points and 41% shooting from the field. Can you believe that? And everybody they had him at the pike. They said, Con Knipple, Con Knipple, Con Knipple. And I love me some Con Knipple. Since then, since that first 10 games, so what are they playing? 23? They've played 23. Since then, in the last 13 games, Coop has been averaging 21 points and 49% from the field. Cooper Flagg has arrived, ladies and gentlemen. He has arrived. And I've said it over and over and over again that this kid reminds me of, like, I didn't get to watch prime Penny Hardaway, so I'm going to use a better example. I'm going to say Jason Tatum. I'm going to say Cade Cunningham. I'm going to say Tracy McGrady, Brandon Roy. These are all players that when they were young, especially in the rookie year, they sort of play slow in that first quarter. And then they start clicking in the second. And then in the second half, they know what the defense is going to give him. So he takes what they're going to give him. It's like he gets better each game, but also gets better throughout the game. And when I say this, it's like I'm talking about a vet. He's 18 years old. All those players I mentioned were prolific in the second half of these basketball games. And on top of that, right? On top of that, if you watch this kid's game, he's learning to make those snap decisions. In those first 10 games, Cooper Flagg was like sort of rushing it. He didn't know what he wanted to do with the ball, right? Whether he should pass, whether he should dribble, whether he should shoot. And it seems like he's learning how to get to that spot. And he's getting to those spots. Naji Marshall has helped spread the floor as well. But what Coop is doing is pump fake at the 3, 1-2 dribble, pull up at the mid-range. And that's working. 1-2 dribble, 3, get your back against the basket, fade on him. He's using his size better than any 18-year-old I've ever personally watched in NBA history. Y'all can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm obviously most knowledgeable about the 90s, 2000s, and up. So when I'm talking about Cooper Flagg, I'm talking about like a veteran. The kid's 18. What he's doing right now is honestly not normal. The way he's getting to his spots effortlessly, the way he looks like a veteran, the way he makes his move, it sort of looks like he's making these snap decisions faster and faster each quarter, each game. He's learning. Naji Marshall obviously had an incredible game. I think he shot 8 for 12 last night against Miami in their win. But listen, the Mavericks have won 3 straight, right? They hit 16 threes last night and only had 12 free throws all night. They had a big lead and they almost choked it away. But honestly, this might be the best rookie campaign I've seen since the LeBron James. Just not statistically, but body-wise. Naji Marshall shot 8 for 12. Coop had 22 points on 9 for 13 shooting, y'all. He didn't attempt a single three-pointer. So he's taking what the defense is giving him. Anthony Davis had 17 points and 17 rebounds. And then I'd like to give a special shout out to Ryan Nembhard. Undrafted, correct? I think I'm right. Ryan Nembhard was undrafted, and he has been playing, wow. 15 points, 13 assists, double-double, 5 rebounds, 6 for 10 from the field, 3 for 3 from three-point land. Ryan Nembhard has looked so good. He looks like a professional point guard in this NBA, and it's a sight to see. It's truly a sight to see. Klay Thompson off the bench poured in 5 threes. D'Lo didn't have a bad game, 4 for 7, 10 points. This team is fun. And I know people are talking about when they get Kyrie back, when they get Lively back, when they get PJ Washington back. I hear y'all. But I'm going to be talking about the Mavericks again later in this podcast. And I hope you guys don't get upset with me. I got to save some of this discussion for the end of this. I guess I'm talking about them next. My apologies. This podcast isn't going to be as long as my other podcasts. All right. Before we move on to our next topic, I'd like to give a special shout out to the homie Mike for leaving the TikTok and coming through to the Twitch stream. I appreciate you, Mike. If you guys are in the TikTok, be sure to keep double tapping that screen, get some likes. I will say, to answer your question, Solo, in the Twitch chat, you said, isn't Kyrie coming in January? I haven't heard of any updates. I think there's a reason why they've been holding off some updates regarding Kyrie's, because do you bring Kyrie back to a team that was so far below 500? Me personally, I wouldn't. Now, they're 8-15 now. They've won 3 straight. And sort of my next topic feeds into this, right? And I'm low-key not ready to talk about Kyrie Irving yet. I'm more so willing to talk about this team and what we have in front of us, right? And right now, they got some young pieces. They got some good players, right? And I'm super excited to see what's going to happen. Now, on the other side, the Heat did not have a good game. They got killed on the board, as they always do. Efficiency killed them. Wiggins shot 4 for 18, his worst game of the season by far. Any Heat fan will tell you that. Bam had an okay game. He was settling for threes and missed 5 out of his 6. Hero had a great start, and it didn't turn out well. Nobody really had a good game other than Khalil Ware, who I thought injected energy onto this court, especially when they finally let Khalil Ware close a game out. They finally let Khalil Ware play till the end, y'all. Finally. 22 points, 10 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. Khalil Ware finally finished the game out. And unfortunately, it didn't lead to a win for them. Nobody else was getting it done. And the Mavs just did it, bro. The Mavs just did it. We talked about them already. So, shout out the Mavericks for this win. We're actually going to be talking about the Mavericks in, first up in our next segment. I don't want anybody to get upset with me, okay? For any of my Mavs fans in here, I don't want anybody to get upset with me, because what I'm about to spew is pure honesty and my opinion, okay? So if your opinion is different than mine, completely understandable. Now, before we move on to our next topic of discussion, I do want to talk about the Pistons very quickly. Obviously, I am a Pistons fan, but I don't want to harp on this thing too long. I just want to say something that I have been preaching since the start of the year, okay? I want to read what the homie Mike just came into the Twitch stream and said. He said, I honestly think they trade Kyrie and Anthony Davis for picks and complimentary pieces for Cooper. Mike, stop! Stop it, Mike! That's what I'm talking about next! Big shout out to Mike for leaving the TikTok and coming through to the Twitch stream. Hold off, Mike. Hold off, bro. Don't read my mind. Real quick, I wanted to talk about the Pistons. I don't need to look at any stats for this. I can just tell you off the dome. I don't need to read any stats. I'll be honest with everybody. I don't know how the Pistons are as far as they are in the conference. They fall to 17-5, and here I am upset with that, right? Why am I upset that the Pistons are 17-5? Well, I'll just tell you all this. They were bullying and bulldozing their way through these wins. Anybody that's going to tell you it's a fraudulent run or fake wins or a fake streak, they haven't been watching. And that's why I'm telling you, as somebody who has not missed a singular second, a singular play offensively and defensively, I am telling you, that's a perfect way to say it quick. The Pistons are so raw. I don't want to harp too long on my team, but I'll just tell y'all this. Duncan Robinson has missed the last 2 games. and the Pistons offense have looked lost. Half-court offense has completely stalled. They don't know what they're doing without Duncan Robinson. The Atlanta Hawks, and we beat the Atlanta Hawks, but shouldn't have been that close. And the Milwaukee Bucks, they beat us last night. They went into a zone, and the Pistons just could not win. They couldn't score. Cade Cunningham's three-point shot hasn't found him yet. He's shooting in the 20s%, right? Ron Holland and Karis LeVert were a combined minus 41 on the court. And JB Bickerstaff. I'll talk about JB Bickerstaff. He gets an enormous amount of praise from me as a coach for what he's done in this turnaround run for the Detroit Pistons. But these rotations right now, it's not working. So as you guys know, the Pistons had 7 different starting lineups, or I guess 8 different starting lineups so far in this season. And now that the players are back from injury, JB cannot figure out these rotations. JB is playing 12 players in a game. It's not working. JB, Karis LeVert is not a closer. You close with LeVert if he's done good things this game. Karis LeVert was a minus 20-something on the court. Karis LeVert was letting people get open threes all night. Karis LeVert was horrible last night. And that's what you're going to get with Karis LeVert. Good games, bad games. But that is why I don't care that Jaden Ivey is on a minutes restriction right now. He was having the game of his season since his comeback. You keep Jaden Ivey in the game when he is playing that well. I understand he's on a minutes restriction, but he needs to play the last 3 minutes. JB lost the Pistons that game. The lack of effort lost the Pistons that game. Cade did not shoot well last night. He missed the game-winning shot. He airballed the game-winning shot. Duren played soft as hell like he did all the first half of last year. Duren, if you want that contract extension, my boy, you better play like how you were for these last couple weeks. Because the last couple games from what I've seen with Duren has not looked good. And I'm going to say this so that everybody who's watching me will know what I'm talking about from here to the end of this season, okay? And use this as conversation pieces with your friends. The Pistons have no shooters outside of Duncan Robinson. He has been lights out, shooting 50% from 3 this season. Sort of like last season with Tim Hardaway and Malik Beasley. There's rumors that Malik Beasley's coming back and he's going to the Pistons. Now, listen to me, chat, and listen good. Ausar Thompson can't shoot. That's fine. And what people seem to misconstrue is that Ausar Thompson is a negative on offense. Ladies and gentlemen, Ausar Thompson last night shows you exactly why the Pistons lose these games. Ausar Thompson, when he's on the court, is a plus 25. The Pistons, when Ausar Thompson is off the court, is a minus 24. So I understand Ausar Thompson cannot shoot. I understand Ausar Thompson is so raw. I understand all of this. But when Ausar Thompson is on the court, the Pistons are twice of a better team. When Ausar Thompson is off the court, the Pistons are twice as worse when he's off the court. This has been an ongoing basis since last year when he returned from his blood clots. Over and over again, JB Bickerstaff takes him out to go for these all offensive lineups of Cade, Jenkins, LeVert. What are we doing here? Your team is better when Ausar's on the court. Your team is better when Ausar and Duren are on the court together. You leave him in crunch time. There's no reason the Pistons right now have a 12-man rotation. And that is what has started the loss of like this 3-3 in the last 6 games. It's this big ass lineup that JB is running. I understand you're trying to be the team's coach. I understand you're trying to be a friend to these players. At some point, you have to realize who's winning you games and who's losing you games. Also, Isaiah Stewart, I know he got chewed out in the locker room after that game from Cade because this is not working. A 12-man rotation works if your 12-man rotation has been utilized all season long, Dark. The fact that he is just springing up from a 9-man, 10-man to a 12-man does not work. And of course, I know Isaiah Stewart's he got chewed out in the locker room. Cade Cunningham was pissed last night. They couldn't beat the zone. They had zero spacing. Yes, I know Cade can't shoot, but they have zero spacing when Duncan's not on the court, and that's why these teams can go freely in the zone. Stu got in an argument with here's the thing. Isaiah Stewart has the worst whistle in the entire NBA as far as reactionary, right? Stu got whacked in the face twice from Bobby Portis. Twice. And what did Stu do? He reacted to getting smacked in the face twice. Didn't touch Portis. In fact, Portis touched Isaiah Stewart, swiped his hand away. Stu gets ejected. He needs to understand that these refs are not going to help him. Because without Isaiah Stewart, this team is buns. Isaiah Stewart spreads the floor. Isaiah Stewart gets you 3 to 5 blocks a game. You need Isaiah Stewart on the court. He needs to learn how to control his temper because he knows the refs are not going to take his side. Not after what he did to LeBron 5 years ago. Once you have that reputation, it's GG's. Thank you, Solo. I'd like to give a special shout out before we move on. I'm sorry, I didn't want to talk about the Pistons, but just pay attention to the trends that I mentioned because you're not going to, anytime you're going to watch the Pistons, you're going to remember this rant that I just had, okay? Because I haven't missed a single second of these games. We're not speaking about the Knicks. They got a good win. They got a good win last night, but it's against the Hornets. We're not going to talk about the Knicks today's podcast. We talked extensively about them yesterday. I'd like to give a special shout out before we move on to our final segment. Will, shout out to Will for leaving the TikTok stream and coming through to the Twitch stream. I appreciate you, Will. All right, guys, let's move on to our final segment of today's episode, where we're going to talk about teams that should blow it up. And I know if you're on the Twitch stream, the name of the team already popped up. I got to start off by saying, don't throw tomatoes at me, y'all. I understand they're on a 3-game win streak. I hear y'all. Right now, I think this is just a showcase of Anthony Davis. Right now, I did, Eric. Yes, I think right now is just a showcase of what Anthony Davis can do and what he can do for another team. Ladies and gents, I got to be honest. Anthony Davis does not fit in the timeline of this team anymore. You have a Ryan Nembhard, which I know is still early to tell. You have Cooper Flagg, which you got blessed with. You got a bunch of young pieces. I think it's time. This team, it's not built for Anthony Davis, who's turning 33 in March. They're not on the same timeline. I'm not denying that Anthony Davis is playing well, but Anthony Davis and Cooper Flagg are not on the same timeline. I think it's time, blow this entire team up, get some young acquisitions, get some future draft stock, get some good pieces because you have so many movable players on this team. You need to trade Anthony Davis. You need to trade Klay Thompson. D'Angelo Russell's on an expiring deal. Caleb Martin. These are all tradable contracts. All of them. Now, what I'm about to say might sound insane. Mavs fans, I think we need to just wipe the slate clean. Trade Kyrie. It's not going to work, y'all. I'm not a fan. They can be much better. They can be much, much better. None of these guys fit Cooper Flagg's timeline. Kyrie's 33, turning 34. Anthony Davis is 32, turning 33. I'll tell y'all this much. They're going to get more for Anthony Davis in a trade than they got for Luka in the trade. They got Anthony Davis and Max Christie from Luka. They're going to get more for Anthony Davis now than they got originally for Luka Doncic. So I think it's a no-brainer. I think they should be calling every single team in the NBA right now and say, hey, listen, this is what we got. What can you offer? I think it's time to just clean our hands, guys. I think there's only a few people that you keep on this team. I think it's the 20-year-olds. I think you keep PJ. I think you keep Ryan Nembhard. I think obviously you keep Cooper Flagg. Keep Lively. I don't know. He keeps getting hurt, but keep Lively. Keep Christie. And just trade everybody else, man. Trade everybody else. I think there's a lot of teams that could still use Anthony Davis. I think Chicago makes the most sense. We talked about that earlier in this week. Chicago loves staying mediocre, and Anthony Davis will allow them to stay mediocre. At most, they'll be a 6 seed with Anthony Davis. I've talked about the Bulls plenty. I know Bulls fans don't want Anthony Davis, and I don't blame you. But the owners want Anthony Davis because Anthony Davis is going to put asses in those seats and bring money into the franchise because they're going to stay mediocre. They're going to stay middle of the pack with no future like they love being. I'm sorry, Chicago, but this is all they care about. They don't care about winning. They got Michael Jordan. They got the Jordan brand. They got the Bulls. They want Anthony Davis because he fits all their needs. Let's stay mediocre. Let's make the playoffs, maybe. Get swept, sure. But let's make it. We can sell playoff tickets, guys. So I think AD to Chicago makes the most sense. It's a homecoming. He's still got skill when he plays. He still has it. And I think it makes the most sense for the Chicago Bulls because they love staying mediocre. Now, Kyrie, on the other hand, I think Kyrie can go. Is this crazy to say? Guys, don't hurt me. But I think the Minnesota Timberwolves are probably the best spot for Kyrie Irving. Can anybody, I think anybody in the audience right now, I think y'all can agree with me. Can you imagine Kyrie Irving and Anthony Edwards? I mean, come on now. I think you trade Kyrie, you can get a lot back for that. I know you sort of lose a little defensively, but I think offensively, that's a huge leap. And I've been thinking about that for the last couple weeks now. And I haven't wanted to say it because I don't know how Mavs fans would have reacted, right? I can't think of a better team. Think about it. I look at Kyrie and Luka, how good they were, right? I think Kyrie's fine. I know some people were worried about this ACL injury. ACLs are very recoverable. We've seen so many great NBA players come back and recover well with an ACL injury. He's 33, turning 34 next year. He's not a big guy, and young guards can typically recover well from an ACL. MCLs, meniscus, and Achilles, those are the tough injuries that you don't want to go through. I'd like to give a shout out to Mel. Is it Mel? Thank you for leaving the TikTok stream and coming through to the Twitch stream. I appreciate you very, very, very much. Thank you, Mel, for leaving the TikTok and coming through to the Twitch. Enjoy the better viewing experience. I think Kyrie and Luka worked really well, but I think Kyrie and Ant will work even better because Ant plays defense. Sometimes. In the playoffs, he plays defense. Now, I'll be honest. I think Kyrie could plug in on any single team in the NBA. Any team. No, you cannot. You can't give up Jaden McDaniels. Nah, that would be difficult. I think personally, Kyrie can fit on any team. So you can talk me to the Pistons, get another shot creator, another ball handler. You can talk me into I wouldn't put him on the Rockets. I don't like him and Durant. I'm sorry. I just don't like him and Durant. You need like a 3-point specialist, defensive guy, like playmaking first, and a Fred VanVleet, right? The Magic, right? You can put him anywhere. You can put Kyrie anywhere and he'd be good. So I think and then obviously Klay Thompson, he's still got stuff in the tank. Dude, honestly, I would take Klay Thompson on the Pistons because even though he's not really hitting them at a consistent, I mean, he's started to click. In case you guys don't know, the last 10 games for Klay Thompson, he started to pick it back up. I would take Klay Thompson on the Pistons any day of the week. I think if I were Traden Landon for the Pistons, I'd be calling the Mavs phone like crazy. What do you want for Klay? What do you want for Klay? What do you want for Klay? Because I know Klay isn't that efficient anymore, but everybody respects Klay Thompson's jumper. So the space that he would dominate, the space that he would create would be unbelievable. I'm a Pistons fan, and I would love Klay Thompson on my team because we have zero shooting. Now, if Malik Beasley was cleared off waivers, then obviously I wouldn't even pick up the phone. I would just go for Malik Beasley. But we don't know what's happening with Malik Beasley, unfortunately. Wow, this team really needs Malik Beasley because they have no shooting, especially when Duncan's out. Okay. Yeah, the Mavs blow it up. They're my first fire sale team. Now, next, let's move on to our next fire sale team. And We just mentioned them, and I don't think anybody's going to get mad at me for saying this. The Chicago Bulls. The Chicago Bulls. I'll be honest with everybody, man. This is the most depressing team in the NBA, other than the Sacramento Kings. You have the Sacramento Kings and then the Sacramento Kings of the East, and that's the Chicago Bulls. You can keep Giddey if you want. He's white. The white guys love a white hooper. Have you ever heard the applause that what's his name? TJ McConnell gets in Indiana? Man, they love their white players in Indiana because they cheer for TJ McConnell as if it's the second coming of Christ. I'm not kidding. Go and watch some an Indiana Pacer game and listen to that crowd erupt when TJ McConnell comes onto the court. They're sort of the same way in Chicago. The white guys love a JD or love a Josh Giddey, right? We already talked about the Giannis trade prediction, so now we're talking about the teams that should just blow it up. The owners don't care, guys. The owners don't care. I don't think in my life, I don't think there's a team in the NBA. I don't think there's a team in the NBA that I could say will never win another championship in my lifetime. I think the Chicago Bulls are damn near on that edge. I don't think the Chicago Bulls are ever going to win again. I don't think so. Because I've been watching a lot of podcasts. I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos, and I've been listening to a lot of former NBA players who played for the Bulls or hypothetically could speak about playing for the Bulls. Nobody wants to play with the Bulls because they don't want to be playing in the shadow of Michael Jordan. I mean, hell, the closest they had to Michael Jordan was like Denzel Valentine, right? I'm kidding. They have lost 5 straight, and it's pretty much over. In my opinion, I think they should just buy out. If you're not going to trade him, you should have traded him for the last 2 years. Just buy out Vucevic. I feel so bad for him, man. I love how when they were 5-0, I was talking about, oh my goodness, Valentine, no, that is not the shot. I was talking about the Bulls being a fake streak in the first 5 games of the season. And everyone was yelling at me. Everybody was upset with me. Everybody was angry with me. And I told them, like, guys, just look at the clear facts. Their opponents were shooting the worst percentages against them since 1980. Teams were literally shooting 19% from 3 against them. The last time a team had an opponent shoot 20% from 3-point land in 5 games in a row was 1984. And that happened to the Bulls, and they got lucky, and people bought into it. Please trade Vucci, baby. Please trade Vucci Main to a team that is competent. He still has a lot left in the tank. He can be a great backup big to any team in the NBA right now. He doesn't play defense, that's fine. But he still has that offensively, man. He's got the footwork. He's got the vibes. He looks so depressed right now. He looks so sad. And then that's just the tip of the totem pole. Trade Kobe White. Get him on a team. Get Kobe White on a team, man. Oh, this basketball team. You got some people to trade, like Kevin Huerter, Isaac Noscoro. You got Jalen Smith, Patrick Williams. I don't know who wants Patrick Williams. That contract is poopy. You got Kobe White, Nikola Vucevic, bro. Just trade everybody. Just go and get AD. Be a playing team for the next 5 years. Nobody cares. Blow it up. Blow it up, man. Blow it up. The Wizards, in my opinion, are not a depressing team. I think the 2 most depressing teams in the NBA are the Kings. Is Liam still here? One of my Pelicans viewers. Pelicans, Kings, and Bulls. I think in that order as well. Yeah, I'd say Pelicans. No, the Clippers, nah. The Clippers, you're just used to them being poverty, you know? But like bad luck. Oh, I guess the Sacramento Kings aren't bad luck. That's just bad management. Same with the Bulls. It's just bad management. Oh, I guess the Hornets are really bad. Yeah. The Hornets are horrible. As a new person in North Carolina, yeah. Who's the most... That's a good question. Maybe we should do that in another podcast. Who are the most depressing franchises in NBA history? You know what? Shelf that, y'all. Shelf that. We're gonna do that. We're gonna do that. We're gonna do that. Get ready to learn Anthony Davis, bro, because he's going to be a Chicago Bull, man. He's going to be a Chicago Bull. We're gonna shelf that. We're gonna talk about it, y'all. We're gonna talk about it. That's a good segment for another day. Bulls, just go get Anthony Davis and be a play-in team for the next 5 years. All right, let's move on to my third team. I got 4 teams, but there were some more, but I don't want this podcast to get too long. Oh my Lord, I said there's going to be a short podcast. We're nearing an hour. Okay, next, our third team that I think should just blow it up. I talked about them extensively yesterday, so I don't need to get into it today. It's the New Orleans Pelicans. New Orleans. In New Orleans. Blow it up. I'm sorry. Just do it, man. Do it. I'm sorry. Herb Jones, see you later, man. Trey Murphy, you're a Piston. Zion Williamson, get ready to learn Chinese, buddy. Derek Queen, you're good. Jeremiah Fears, you're cool. Jose Alvarado. I'm sorry. I don't want to talk about this team. Blow it up. Just blow it up. It's over, man. It's over. We can't do this anymore. DeJounte. Oh my God, I forgot about DeJounte Murray. Oh my Lord. Talk about the dream. Talk about the NBA dream, ladies and gents. Oh my God. Talk about the NBA dream. What is this guy's contract? Can somebody do me a favor and pull up DeJounte Murray's contract for me? Because I don't want to leave this website. Just somebody pull up DeJounte Murray's contract, because that is one of the most depressing modern day NBA. God. Okay. Blow it up. I'm sorry, Pelicans fans. I know we got a lot of Pelicans fans in here. I know we got more than a few. Blow it up, man. You got a lot of pieces. It's 4 years, $120 million. He's making $120 million, ladies and gents, to play 5 NBA games in the last, 2 years? Talk about the dream. Talk about the dream, man. Wow. Hell, I'd do that. I would do it for way less. Is he injured? Yeah. I don't even think they've disclosed any information about his injury. Just blow it up, guys. I don't have much to talk about the Pelicans. We talked about them extensively yesterday, so I'm sorry. Just blow it up. You got so many pieces to trade. Saddiq Bey, welcome back to Detroit, man. Just blow it up. I would do that for $100K a year, man. Just chill on a bench and watch NBA basketball from courtside. Are you kidding me? You're asking for $750K. I would sit on the bench for rookie minimum, literally. Give me the vet. Well, I guess the vet minimum is pretty. All right, guys. Let's talk about the last team that I have to blow it up. And there's some more teams that need to blow it up, but let's just rip the Band-Aid off, y'all. Vivek is a terrorist, and not because of the color of his skin. I'm Arab, or just a different shade of brown. He is a terrorist. He's a terrorist. What he's done to the Sacramento Kings franchise needs to be taken into the FBI, the CIA, the KFC, all of those abbreviations. Get this man in prison. Arrest him. Officer, he's that way. Look at this roster. Look at this roster. Look at this roster. DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, Doug McDermott. He's still in the NBA. Malik Monk, Dennis Schroeder, Russell Westbrook, Dario Saric, Devin Carter, Precious Achiuwa, Isaac Jones. He's on the Pistons now. Drew Eubanks, Keon Ellis, who actually, ladies and gents, I don't know if you guys heard, but we had our first Tony Snell game of the season. I don't know if y'all heard. We had our very first Tony Snell of the season. Keon Ellis last night. He had, I need y'all to listen. DK, my Kings fan, listen. 0 points, 0 rebounds, 0 assists, 0 blocks, 0 steals. And you're probably thinking, Jay-Z, that's no big deal. He probably played 0 minutes. 20 minutes. 20 minutes. We had our first Tony Snell of the sneezing. 0 for 4 on all 3-pointers attempted. True definition of I'm out here just for some cardio. You guys know those guys at your local gyms, at your local Ys, where the old guy says, man, I do this twice a week for my cardio, man. It keeps me in shape. Minus 17 on the floor. 'Tis the sneezing for our first Tony Snell. Guys, let's blow her up, man. Let's blow her up. This is just the most worthless franchise, the most worthless roster, the most worthless owner. He's a terrorist, plain and simple. And again, not because of his ethnicity whatsoever. As a Kings fan, I'm crying right now. Nair in the TikTok stream, you're in my prayers. Everybody, when you're about to lay in bed tonight, please get on your knees and say a little prayer for Nair and all the rest of the Kings fans around this world, man. Doug Christie was given the keys to poop. We talked about the Celtics extensively yesterday. We will not be talking about the Celtics. This was our segment about blowing up these teams. That is going to do it for today, y'all. 56 minutes on podcast. Special shout out to OC for leaving the TikTok stream and coming through to the Twitch stream. I appreciate you. Yo, Eric, I'd like to say, Eric, you better get your ass in the Twitch stream right now. Otherwise, I'm banning you out the TikTok. Because you were here all stream. Guys, that's going to do it for today's podcast. If you are watching on TikTok, if you are watching on YouTube, be sure to subscribe. Be sure to follow. Be sure to leave a 5-star rating and review if you're over there in the Spotify or Apple Podcasts. And if you are not in the Twitch stream, now is the time to tune in, lock in while the season is still hot and ready, like little cheesers. We do this live Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern. If you guys want to get a part of the discussion and all the conversation and in this interactive basketball podcast, be sure to tune in Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern on Twitch. Ladies and gents, boys and girls, that's all I have for y'all. Except for, thank you for being here. Thank you for being you. And as always, guys, thank you for watching / listening. We will be back tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Eastern. Twitch chat. Be sure to stick around because we're still live on Twitch, ladies and gents. Have a blessed day, everybody. TikTok, y'all heard me, bro. Eric, get your ass over here, fucker. You were in the TikTok stream the whole fucking time. I want Eric. I want Nair. I want OMVP. I want all you motherfuckers in the TikTok to come through to the Twitch stream, all right? Jay-Z Uncut on Twitch. Link in my bio. Come through, guys. All right. Chat. W fucking pod, eh? Was that a... Oh, I'm still recording. Oops.